Live from KSAT 12. The news at noon starts right now.
Well, new this noon, a man now charged with capital murder. San Antonio police accuse him of shooting and killing two men during an altercation. So the trouble started last Sunday morning just after 2 at a northwest side apartment complex on Callahan Road. Officers responded to that shooting call, and when they got there, they found that the two men later identified as Jorge Espejo Gudino and Jose Yanez Nava lying on the ground with gunshot wounds. Now, both of them later died, and police tell us that they are learning from witnesses that a man shot them both and then took off in a red car. Officers tell us they now believe that man was 54-year-old Joe Perez. 2 days after the shooting, police say that they found evidence linking Perez to that crime, and that includes shell casings and a car that matches the one spotted at the scene. Now Perez could face a capital murder charge and an $800,000 bond. Well, the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office is asking for your help. It is trying to identify a man who died earlier this year. So this unidentified person was a white male in his late 30s to possibly late 40s. The Medical Examiner's Office says he was approximately 5 foot 9 inches tall. The man's body was found on May 22nd in the 4900 block of Callahan Road on the northwest side. If you have any relevant information or if you recognize the man on your screen, you can contact the Medical Examiner's Investigative Section. That number is 210-335-4011. Well, the longtime business partner of Brad Simpson returned back to court this morning. Simpson is accused of the murder of his wife, Suzanne Simpson. Now, Brad Simpson's friend, James Cotter, is charged with tampering with evidence with intent to impair an investigation and possession of prohibited weapons. Our Erica Hernandez has been following this case and joins us now with the very latest. And Erica, is James Cotter expected to go to trial anytime soon?
Yeah, so there is still a lot of waiting and seeing what happened with Brad Simpson's case before we see anything happen with this case. So today the state did acknowledge that evidence in this case is a lot of the same of what's in Simpson's case, and they said the defense would have it all by the end of this week. He is accused of helping Simpson hide an AK-47 that was illegally modified and not correctly registered. Now, Cotter has been out on bond on a GPS monitor, and his defense today asked if Cotter could have it removed.
He's had no violations. He is a resident of San Antonio. He has a house, a very expensive house in San Antonio. He surrendered his passport under court order, and the court has allowed him tracking so he can conduct his business, but the GPS prevents him from, like, he can't swim with his daughter.
Now, the state was not in favor of that request as there's still an ongoing investigation and because Suzanne Simpson's body has not been found. Judge Joel Perez of the 437th District Court did deny that request, but said it could be considered again at a later date. Now, Cotter will be back in court, Stephanie, in 30 days.
Okay, well, that's Cotter. What is the latest with Brad Simpson's case?
Yeah, so Simpson will be back in court on Monday to make sure all evidence issues have been figured out, and we could potentially also get a tentative trial date for him.
All right, Erica, thank you for staying on top of the story.
Thank you.
Well, let's look out there with live cam this afternoon. I know things have been warming up, Shelby, since this morning, and it's kind of a common thing, I guess, the 90s, all the afternoons.
We're going to continue to see the warmer temperatures not only today, but really continuing that kind of copy-paste Groundhog's Day effect over the next few days. But there is some good news. We are tracking a little bit of a change in the weather pattern. Not a lot, but we're starting to see some rain chances return to the forecast. But right now, sitting in the 80s, 85 degrees in San Antonio currently, 88 in New Braunfels, but we're also still seeing the dew point temperatures a little cooler, so we're not seeing and feeling that humidity as much as we have in days previous. 82 degrees as we go up into the hill country near Bernie, and throughout the next few hours, we're going to continue to see the temperatures increase. 90 degrees already by 2 p.m. Our peak temperature today is expected to be about 93, and it's going to stay dry, and that's because of this big blue H. This area of high pressure is still sitting in areas near the Mexico and Texas border, near the Mexico mountains, and that's giving us a little bit of that warmer and quieter air. but something else that's going to continue to bring us those warmer temperatures. We're still sitting above average in those mid-90s. But this weekend's when we start to see a little bit of that change. 10% chance of rain as we go from Saturday into Sunday, and it's going to be very isolated. Some areas might not even see rain as we go throughout the weekend, but we're expecting more rain chances as we go into Monday and Tuesday. I'll break down your rain chances and what you need to know coming up in just a bit, Steph.
Thank you, Shelby. Well, a 35-year-old man has been arrested for intoxication manslaughter that happened on Tuesday in connection with a multi-vehicle crash that happened on the city's north side. So this crash happened around 2:15 a.m. on Tuesday morning in the 16,500 block of U.S. Highway 281 North near the exit for Thousand Oaks Drive. So police tell us that a man was driving a Dodge Ram pickup truck, and this was later identified as Martinez, and crashed into the back of a Ford Ranger, and that's what police say. So due to this crash, the Ford Ranger collided with another vehicle. A San Antonio Police Department preliminary report indicated that Martinez was speeding before this crash. Now, a 30-year-old man driving the Ford Ranger was pinned inside the truck. He was later pronounced dead after this crash. The 30-year-old man has not yet been identified by the Bexar County Medical Examiner's office. Now, the driver of the third vehicle was not injured. Well, fentanyl poisoning and opioid overdoses are growing problems in Texas, according to researchers with UT San Antonio Health. However, now those researchers are working to put the life-saving drug Narcan, or naloxone, in every college campus across the state. Our Devin Karp takes the conversation to students who have been affected by fentanyl deaths and shows us how to use the life-saving medicine.
When I was in Houston, I knew of a family whose kid passed away due to fentanyl.
Especially in young communities, you never know.
Unfortunately, you can't go too far on a college campus without finding someone whose life has been affected by fentanyl.
It's so important for college students because we know that fentanyl is actually the leading cause of death for individuals ages 18 to 45. And so that encapsulates that age group.
Dr. Tara Carnes-Wright works with Naloxone Texas, a part of the Be Well Institute, looking to remove the stigma around naloxone, or Narcan, the life-saving medicine for an overdose.
In Texas, there's legislation for K through 12 schools, and there's legislation for other workforces, but there's not really a systematic way of getting into our colleges and universities.
Now they're looking to change that with federal and state funding to put it on every college campus they can in Texas.
If you ever need to use naloxone like this, here's how it works. You take a box, open up the package. There you'll find a dose of Narcan. After you open it up, you should have something like this. All you'll have to do is place it inside the person's nose, press up, and wait for the dose to work. If it's still not working after a little while, then you want to grab the second dose in this box.
So that's how you use Narcan. Was that hard?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
Did that seem too hard?
No.
After learning how it works, these students were surprised it's not already on every campus in Texas.
Yes, I think not even like college campuses, I think everywhere. But yeah, I think this is the best place to have them at, for sure.
It's really hard to just say don't take them, right? That's really like, come on now. Like there are a lot of people who they're not gonna listen to you.
Researchers say the easier it's available, the better, because talking about it literally saves lives.
This is, for us, a very judgment-free zone, and the more we talk about this, the more that everyone will feel comfortable talking about it.
Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Well, new details this noon after a driver hit an 11th grade student in front of John Jay High School. We are learning that teens' injuries are life-threatening. So the crash happened around 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon on Marbuck Road. San Antonio police say a 33-year-old man was driving a pickup truck when he hit that 16-year-old boy. Now, the teen was using a crosswalk there right in front of the school, and the driver did stop to help. We are told that that teen was taken to the hospital, again with life-threatening injuries. Police say at last check he was in critical condition. Northside ISD officials say the driver involved is not connected to the school, and right now it's not clear if that driver will face charges. A man is in critical condition after he was hit by a car last night. This happened around 10:30 p.m. on Bicentennial Drive, not far from I-10. Now, police tell us that the man was trying to cross the access road when he was hit. The driver there did stop to render aid, and while responding to the crash, an 18-wheeler backed into a parked police car. Well, Adult Protective Services estimates that 1 out of every 10 older adults in Bexar County are abused, neglected, or exploited every year. This is a sobering statistic that the director of the city's Department of Human Services shared with the Public Safety Committee. Now, yesterday's meeting gave new council members a current status report as to where San Antonio stands when it comes to elder abuse and domestic violence. Assistant Chief Jesse Salome says that fraud against the elderly is also on the rise.
Several financial exploitation categories, especially fraudulent use and possession of identifying information and financial abuse of the elderly, have seen notable increases from 2023 to 2025 year to date, which to us indicate a growing trend in scams and identity-related crimes that are being committed against the older adults.
Well, Metro Health analyst says that the number of domestic violence calls and reports have stayed relatively consistent. Well, San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo is campaigning for a roughly $240 million proposal to bring more Western and rodeo type events to the East Side. However, that's up to Bexar County voters, and this November they will consider Propositions A and B. So Proposition A would improve the Frost Bank Center and Freeman Coliseum and overhaul the surrounding grounds. The goal is to attract bigger conventions, trade shows, and events. Rodeo officials say this will help with filling the vacancy of the Spurs if they leave to a downtown arena, which is also on the ballot as Proposition B. However, some East Side residents at yesterday's town hall still are not so sure about the idea.
This is all positive pro because it's by the people that want it. I was hoping more elected officials would be here to also either answer questions or ask questions.
Well, the majority of the crowd was in favor of the idea. Rodeo officials explain that if passed, this would be primarily paid for by taxing tourists and visitors. Well, happening today, Governor Greg Abbott is returning to the Hill Country to meet with families who were hit hard by the deadly flooding. He will be connecting them with resources to help them recover. In Leander, Abbott will hand out checks to those impacted by the devastating flooding that happened over the 4th of July weekend. So the money comes from the Straight to the Heart Texas Flood Relief Fund. This is a foundation that works with George Strait. They also helped organize the Straight to the Heart benefit concert, which happened back in late July. Well, today is your chance to make a big impact on your favorite local nonprofit. So the Big Give kicks off at 6 p.m. and that will last about 24 hours. So as you can see, they already have their countdown going on their website right now. So this is a look at the 400 plus organizations that are a part of the Big Give online fundraiser. For 24 hours, they will launch a massive push for online donations in hopes of being able to get matching funds from supporting companies. Last year, the Big Give brought $6 million to organizations that cover 15 counties. Well, the Good Samaritan on the city's west side is one of those nonprofits that's benefiting from the Big Give. They hope to raise $8,000. Now, one woman who uses their child care center for free says her family also gives back to them because what they do for the community and children is so important.
They've learned so much. I've seen them grow, become these different people, and I'm just like, those are my kids. Just even them talking, just their language barrier and everything, it's very compared to other kids that don't really go to, a daycare center.
Well, to find out more about the Big Give, you can head over to our website, KSAT.com. There are organizations that support animal rescues, sports, arts, and communities. Well, a local stage show ready to entertain audiences. We're taking a peek behind the curtain with the cast of Real Women Have Curves, what they're saying about the show. And a boost to the economy. That's the goal of federal lawmakers. The move they have in the works that could help your finances. Well, the Federal Reserve is expected to cut interest rates this afternoon by a quarter point, and that would be the first rate cut since last December. The Federal Reserve hopes the move will boost hiring by businesses and spending by consumers. Now, we have already seen mortgage rates drop in anticipation of the Fed's move. The average 30-year fixed rate now 6.13%. That's nearly a 3-year low. A rate cut can also lower costs for car loans and credit cards. Look out there with live cam again. Yeah, 85 degrees, slowly warming up. But I'd say at least at this time, if people can find some shade for their lunchtime hour, it's not too bad.
Especially if you find some shade, it makes all the difference. And especially if you're going out, you're not really going to have to worry about any of the allergens sitting in the moderate category. They're all low: ragweed, pigweed, fall elm, and molds. Especially this weekend, they were all either high or moderate after the rain we saw. And the aquifer is up, but only 1/10 of a foot. I'll break down the next chance of rain you can expect coming up after the break.
I like that there's less humidity, but also there's been no rain this week.
I know, it's felt relatively like a little bit of a fresh air. I know the weather team, we've been covering the rain that what feels like nonstop since May or June. And so the nice little quieter weather, only having the humidities, felt really nice, not only for the weather team, but also you're going outside, you're enjoying lunch, and that's going to continue to be the rest of the week. We are still expecting a little bit of that humidity when you're waking up for your mornings, but otherwise, we're really going to stay mostly dry. And as we go into the weekend, that's when we're starting to see a little bit of that pattern shift. It's not going to be a lot, but you'll start to notice it next week as we finally get that glimmer of hope for rain. It starts this weekend, and we're really going to continue to see the rain chances go until next week. And even next week is going to be the greatest chance of seeing some rain and seeing just some moisture return to San Antonio. But focusing on today, temperatures getting to about 93 degrees. Most of us still seeing those mostly clear to partly clear skies. Currently what we're already seeing as you go out the door, and that's going to make for a beautiful sunset tonight. But what we're also seeing is some showers on authority radar. Most of the showers we were expecting to be near the coastal plains, and even some of them are starting to get further inland. We're talking about near Devine, near Pearsall, Dilley. But as I zoom in, these quick showers are very short-lived. They've only really started about the last 30 minutes or so, and they're not even producing really any lightning associated with it. So it is going to bring a nice little cool down to some people, and then it's going to continue to move off. But we're already starting to see some rain near Pearsall, Devine, and even getting to the southern end of Atascosa County. And that's going to continue throughout the next few hours. Any small little quick showers is possible, mostly to the south and to the west, or even near the coastal plains. The chances are lower for Bexar County and as you go north of Highway 90. And that's really going to be it. Just a quick sprinkle, just a quick shower, and that's going to be it. You don't have to cancel any of your plans, and we're still going to maintain those partly cloudy skies. But the greatest chance of rain comes later on. We're talking about Sunday, a 20% chance of rain, and then Monday into Tuesday, there is a 30% chance of rain. And even on Tuesday, there's a possibly higher chance of some rain because we're seeing a few things move through. And here's why. The futurecast shows that as we go throughout the next few days, that high pressure that's currently near the mountains of Mexico, that's going to be the main weather pattern as we go into the weekend. But what we're watching is just to the north, near the high plains. There's a few low pressure systems just sitting in the upper portion of the Midwest, producing multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms. But as that continues to move through, we're expecting a low pressure system to cut off from that and form and move into areas of South Texas. That's going to move as we go in from Sunday into Monday and Tuesday, and that could produce some chances of some showers and even maybe a thunderstorm or two. But you'll need to check back with us because it's an ever so changing forecast and it's still a week away. So a 10% chance of showers on Sunday and Monday, leading to a 30% chance of rain, Steph, on Tuesday.
We will take it. Thank you, Shelby. Heartwarming and powerful. That's what a new production promises audiences, how the cast is working to deliver. Well, the latest production out of the Classic Theater is Real Women Have Curves, and it's playing now until October 5th. So we got a backstage look at what people can expect. Check it out. Unfortunately, we have some technical issues. Looks like a lot of fun, and just a reminder that when Real Women Have Curves, this will be playing until October 5th. Well, 1 week after the murder of Charlie Kirk, students at Utah Valley University are returning to class. Meantime, the suspected shooter, Tyler Robinson, has been charged with 7 counts, including aggravated murder. Now, Robinson made his first court appearance yesterday. The Utah County District Attorney is seeking the death penalty. Now, he laid out the alleged evidence against Robinson, including DNA pulled from the rifle that was left at the scene and text messages between Robinson and his roommate.
The roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, "Drop what you're doing, look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it."
Well, now officials are trying to figure out if anyone knew about Robinson's plan ahead of time. Authorities say that they are investigating more than 20 people with alleged ties to Robinson on the online messaging platform Discord. Well, President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump are in the United Kingdom today for a second state visit. ABC's Alex Perche reports President Donald Trump is scheduled to spend much of the day at Windsor Castle.
President Trump and the First Lady getting the royal treatment in the United Kingdom today. Horse-drawn carriages decked in gold greeted them at Windsor Castle. Trump and King Charles got into one. Melania and the Queen were behind them, followed by a carriage carrying Princess William and Princess Kate. With this visit, the president becomes the first elected political leader in modern times to be hosted for 2 state visits by a British monarch, having already been hosted by the late Queen Elizabeth in 2019. The Guard of Honor at Windsor, the largest ever organized for a state visit. The president also welcomed by a joint U.S.-British flyover of F-35 fighter jets. The president and first lady then joining the royal family for lunch inside the castle, where the leaders also exchanged gifts. The king presenting Trump with a hand-bound leather book to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence and the Union Jack flag that flew above Buckingham Palace on the day of President Trump's second inauguration. Trump giving the king a replica of former President Eisenhower's sword to symbolize the partnership between the two nations during World War II. And after lunch, the president laying a wreath at the grave of Queen Elizabeth. But this state visit is not without controversy. Protesters have been rallying outside Windsor Castle and across the UK, a few hundred in central London marching to Parliament. Overnight, protesters projected large pictures and video of Trump and Prince Andrew with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein on the walls of Windsor Castle.
I think it's quite smart because it says a lot without causing too much disruption.
Tomorrow, the president will meet with the Prime Minister Keir Starmer to talk tariffs. But today, it's all about pomp and pageantry for the president. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
Well, Tejano musician Bobby Pulido has announced that he is running for Texas's 15th congressional district. Pulido, a singer and Edinburgh native who has been making Tejano music for 3 decades, is running to take on Representative Monica de la Cruz, a Republican from Edinburgh, in a district that stretches from McAllen to central Texas. So we are told it will be an uphill climb for any Democrat. The district voted for President Donald Trump by an 18% margin last year. To meet de la Cruz in a general election, Pulido will first face a primary against Ada Cuellar, a Harlingen emergency physician unrelated to South Texas Representative Henry Cuellar, who is a Democrat from Laredo. Well, it has been 1 month since Edgewood ISD police arrested a woman during a public comment at a school board meeting. So last night was their first board meeting since that episode, and the woman arrested, Maribel Gardea, held a rally across the street from the board meeting to organize parents before they headed in. Now, she says she is still not allowed on property, even though the district attorney's office is not pursuing charges. The superintendent addressed parental concerns over bullying, board policy, and education support programs during that meeting. And he sat down exclusively with our Avery Everett for an interview and told us that he is working on a solution.
I choose to look at that moment in time, examine it, learn from it, and move forward with the parents that are looking to work together.
Well, Superintendent Eduardo Hernandez says he'll have more meetings with parents in the coming weeks, and he is also planning to create a parent advisory committee in the district very soon.
Taking a look outside with live cam, it's a beautiful afternoon seeing those Toy Story clouds or those cumulus clouds in the sky and seeing a lot of the blue skies, and that blue sky is going to allow our temperatures to really warm up. And as you can see on your screen, we're already sitting at 85 degrees. And even throughout the next hour or so, we're expecting temperatures to continue to warm up, already near 93 degrees by around 4 p.m., which is going to be our peak temperature. But we're still expecting those partly cloudy skies throughout the rest of the afternoon into the evening hours, and still seeing the temperatures on the warmer side, even by 11 and 10 p.m., still sitting in those 80s. And for the afternoon, expect temperatures to be the same with the cloud coverage. But here's one thing that's different. The rain chances, a 10% chance on Saturday, going into a 20% chance on Sunday. And that's because we're seeing that extra moisture come into areas of South Texas, seeing a stray storm possible Saturday. But then we're starting to see an isolated rain chance on Sunday, and we're getting more chances of rain throughout the entire weekend and even into next week. Here's a look at the rainfall potential as we go throughout the next 7 days. Don't pay attention to the exact location, but just know that there is a chance for some nice rainfall accumulation near the coastal plains and even potentially getting into San Antonio. It's very far away, but I'll go over the latest track and timing of that. Plus, take a look at the tropics as they're waking up, coming up in just a bit, Steph.
Thank you, Shelby. Well, we have late breaking news this noon. Texas Rangers and Uvalde police are investigating the death of a congressional staffer who worked for Congressman Tony Gonzalez at his district office in Uvalde. So police there tell KSAT investigates that officers were called to the home of Regina Santos Aviles late Saturday night for a disturbance. She died Sunday morning. Now, in a statement, Gonzalez said he and his staff are heart-stricken by the news, saying Santos Aviles devoted her profession toward making a difference in her community and that she would be remembered for her passion towards the community of Uvalde. We'll be right back. All right, check this out. San Antonio Spurs guard Stephon Castle, the San Antonio Fire Department and USAA teamed up to spread awareness and share some safety tips to prevent kitchen fires. Well, some may think it may never happen to them. However, victims often say it can happen in an instant. And you can take some simple measures to stay safe.
Place it directly on it, smother the fire. Leave it on there for a time. It'll put the fire out. It's safe, it's easy. Keep in mind, that is what you want to do if it's a small grease fire contained in the pan, if it hasn't spread.
Well, officials also tell us that placing a fire blanket can quickly extinguish a fire, but throwing water on it, that's a big no-no because it can cause the flames to spread. Well, Project Men is stepping up to help people up to get some much needed medical mobility equipment. And also this time around, you can be a part of it. So Dexter Moon, the Chief Operating Officer of Project Men, joined us on our GMSA Plus live stream earlier today to share more.
Project Mend, we've been talking a lot about this here. They're stepping up to help people who need medical mobility equipment, and you can be a part of their effort.
That's right. And Dexter Moon, the Chief Operating Officer of Project Men, is here to tell us about all the events coming up very soon. In fact, tomorrow's a phone bank.
Yes. Thank you very much. Tomorrow's our phone bank, and we'll be taking calls here, and we're looking forward to that. Obviously, we're a nonprofit, so any time that we can take in a donation to help us serve our community is a great opportunity. So if you don't have any equipment, but you want to contribute to the cause, definitely call in tomorrow to our phone bank. That would be great.
Tell us how important Project Mend is and the people that you are trying to serve.
Yes, ma'am. So we have a very simple mission. We take in donations of durable medical equipment, we refurbish it, sanitize it, and then we reissue it out to free to people who may not have insurance or their insurance may not cover. Everybody needs access to mobility, and sometimes getting that equipment can be very expensive. So having a location like Project Mend where you can come and get it for free is a benefit to the community.
I think wheelchair would come to mind right away, a walker. But what are some other pieces of equipment that people may have collecting dust in their house right now that they don't even realize could help you out.
Yes, sir. Like you said, wheelchairs, commode chairs, bedside commodes, over the bed tables, hospital beds, scooters, power chairs. We're going to be collecting all of that on Saturday at 3 different locations here in the city.
And let's just say this touches the heart of some of our viewers, maybe but do not have any equipment like that around, but they do want to help. How can people help?
Well, definitely they can call in tomorrow to the phone bank. We'll be taking donations over the phone. They can also look at our website. It's www.projectmend.org. Right. And we also have volunteer opportunities on there as well. Many hands make a light load, and so we're always looking for folks that would like to come in and help us clean and sanitize equipment.
Yeah, so there are the particulars on the phone bank. We showed you 2 of the 3 drop-off locations this weekend. One of them is Wonderland of the Americas Mall. There it is right there. And then the Shriners Auditorium there, 1604, kind of not far from the Stone Oak area. You said there was a 3rd location.
Yes, too. Colonial Funeral Home over on Kitty Hawk Road will also, they're having a shred day, but they're also going to be collecting durable medical equipment for us as well. So we're sort of spread out across the city on Saturday, so anybody can get to us anywhere in the city.
That's on the northeast side.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay.
A good reminder, yes. I was going to ask also for people who may need some equipment and, you know, like you said, insurance may not cover it and then, it's very, very expensive, or maybe they have like one piece of equipment, but they still need some help around the house. They can just reach out to you guys.
Yes, they can reach out to our headquarters. We're located at 5015 Wurzbach Road. That's over on the northwest side of town. Or you can give us a call at 210-223-6363. One of our case managers will take all your information and we'll figure out what we need to do to get you that piece of equipment.
Okay. And here's a reminder again to join a KSAT community tomorrow for the televised phone bank, Give the Gift of Mobility. So your donations will go straight to Project Mend to buy that much needed medical mobility items like wheelchairs and walkers.
It's important to remember that even then, even in the hot Texas summer days, it's still easy and you still want to help out everyone, especially because over the next 7 days, we're going to continue to see those warmer temperatures sitting in those mid to low 90s. But then this weekend, we're starting to see a little bit of that change in our temperatures because of the rain chances to bring us a chance of 80 degrees as our high. And we're still in a drought. The latest drought monitor comes out tomorrow, but we're still seeing that exceptional drought in areas of Medina County. I'll talk about the rain chances and what it could do for our drought, plus take a look at the Atlantic coming up after the break.
I know I was looking at the long week ahead, and then I was really looking forward to Monday and Tuesday because of the rain chances and the cooler temperatures.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to see that widespread rain that we've kind of been used to seeing on the weekends. It's a weekend where normally that trend to see the rain, but it's going to be very isolated, and it's still a week away. So I just want to give you that heads up. You might have some inconvenient rain coming towards you, but it's still a week away, right? So not everyone's going to see it, and things can change ever so slightly. So here's what you need to know throughout today, tomorrow, and even going into the next week. We have that area of high pressure, that big blue H. This is normally responsible for giving us the triple digits we're seeing in July and August. For us, it's only giving our temperatures over the next few days a few degrees above average. But even though it still bobbles around between Texas and Baja California, it's still going to be the main weather maker throughout the weekend. But here's what we're watching. The low pressure systems to the north in the high plains, the upper portions of the Midwest, what we're watching is this area of that low pressure moving down and having a cutoff low. Basically, as a low pressure system starts to die, it starts to cut off all that moisture and form another low. And that's what we're watching specifically for Sunday and into Monday, because as that cutoff low moves down into areas of South Texas, it could produce some rain starting Monday, going into Tuesday morning, and then even going into Wednesday. That's what we're watching for the rain chances. And that's why earlier when I showed you the rain potential over the next 7 days, not to pay attention to the exact location, because if this low moves ever so slightly north, south, east, west, it could change how much rain we actually do get. There are also other factors, especially in the tropics. Turning to the Pacific, the National Hurricane Center has about a 90% chance of this little cluster of thunderstorms turning into a potential tropical system. But the good news is it's forecasted to go straight into the Pacific, not back to Mexico, but the Atlantic is also starting to activate. Just about the 1 p.m. update, we now have Tropical Storm Gabrielle. Earlier today, it was just Tropical Depression number 7, but it's now named Tropical Storm Gabrielle, producing about 45-mile-an-hour winds, and I'll get to that in just a second. But we're also watching this area off of Africa right here. That has a 20% chance of development, and that's what I'm also watching, because that cone of uncertainty, that's supposed to go towards the Leeward and the Windward Islands, and that's when we start to get not necessarily cautious, but more observant of where it necessarily goes. But like I mentioned, Tropical Storm Gabrielle, it is now a tropical storm producing 45-mile-an-hour winds, and it is still these two clusters. But that center of rotation is right in the middle. And as we go throughout the next few days, there's a high pressure just to the north, and that's really going to cut off the excess moisture and really help direct it. And as it continues to go just to the north and to the west, it's really starting to end up rotating around it, going eventually to be a Category 1 hurricane. That has no sort of impact for us in San Antonio, but it is still hurricane season in South Texas. It is still something to keep our eyes on, especially because it might impact some sort of riptides and waves on the eastern seaboard. But for us, like I mentioned earlier, about a 10% chance of rain on Saturday, 20% on Sunday. Fall is actually starting on Monday. The fall equinox starts at about 1:19 p.m. on Monday. And then as we go into Tuesday and throughout the rest of next week, we're watching specifically, especially for those rain chances as it moves to South Texas.
Take it. Thank you, Shelby. Well, the holiday travel season creeping up on us, and even though the trips can get a little pricey, there is some good news for those budget-conscious shoppers. Well, as summer comes to an end, it's time to start looking ahead to holiday travel. And despite the impact of inflation on the economy, there are still plenty of deals for travelers. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the details.
With summer trips in the rearview mirror, the holiday travel season will be here before we know it. Experts say now is the time to start planning your fall and winter getaways. Most importantly, booking your flights.
For domestic flights, 1 to 3 months out is sort of that sweet spot to find the best deals. For international flights, it's a little different. The sweet spot to find the best deal on international flights is 2 to 8 months out.
The good news for travelers, airfare, hotel rooms, and rental cars are cheaper this year than they were last year.
We are seeing fewer international travelers come into the U.S. So if you're a domestic traveler and you're staying within the U.S., you aren't competing with those international travelers for space to book.
To save money, try mixing and matching different airlines.
Especially when you're traveling domestically, it is very rare that a round trip will be cheaper than just doing 2 one-ways. So what NerdWallet recommends is for that domestic travel, book a flight one way, get the best deal, get the best time for you, and then going back home, you do another fresh search, another one-way flight, and you'll typically find you have more options that way because you're not hooked into that same airline.
Take advantage of the 24-hour rule so you don't miss out on a great deal.
There is a rule in the U.S. when you see an airfare, even if it's an airfare that is non-refundable, you can't cancel it, you can actually cancel it within 24 hours of booking. If you see an excellent airfare, just book it, and then you have 24 hours to assess with your family, assess the rest of your budget if you're actually going to do that trip.
And make the most of your credit card reward points.
What NerdWallet is seeing, especially this year, is all sorts of devaluations happening. Points and miles do not get more valuable. By and large, as the years go by, they get less valuable. So if you are sitting on a stash of points and miles, that's a really, really good time to actually use them is the end of the year.
Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Like I mentioned earlier, that quick little splash and dash showers are making their way through Medina County right now. But once again, we're not expecting anything strong or severe, just a nice light rain shower, maybe lasting about an hour for some folks. And it is still going to decrease your temperature if you do get that shower. 93 expected later today for San Antonio, 86 expected as you get into areas of the hill country. And remember, once you're in the rural communities, you're not going to see the temperatures as warm because you don't have as much concrete, cement in the buildings to reflect some of that heat off of. So San Antonio is expected to be about 93 today. Still seeing that partly cloudy skies throughout the next few hours and throughout the next few days, really, Steph. And it's going to be very quiet until we get to about Saturday. That's when we start to see the rain chances return. About 20% chance of rain starting Sunday through Monday. And fall, technically, for some people, starts on Monday. That's the fall equinox. So we have the same amount of daylight as we do about nighttime. So people consider that to be the start of fall. But we're already in meteorological fall.
Gotcha.
Still seeing 90s.
It'd be nice to see some lower temperatures and even rain on the official start of fall.
Very much so.
Thank you, Shelby. Thanks for joining us. Have a good afternoon.